Hi there, potential home buyers and YouTube watchers. Wherever you're watching this video, let me introduce myself. My name is Yvonne Hunt. I'm an Atlanta realtor. I reside in the state of Georgia, and I am trying to get the word out about down payment assistance programs. This is my fifth in my down payment assistance series this year. This one is on the City of Canton, Georgia. Canton, Georgia is in Cobb County. You'll notice if you've watched any of my videos that there are all kinds of down payment assistance programs out there. About 79 last time I counted. I did find a new one this morning, which I will be doing a video on soon. But this one is from the City of Canton. There are some that are funded by cities. There are some that are funded by counties. My last one was on Gwinnett County, the county that I reside in. There are some that are funded by the state, and there are some that are federal. So this one is funded by municipality, the City of Canton, Georgia. Let's dive in. So let me give you a quick overview about this program. As of May 2025, when this was filmed, the funding source is active. Whenever you see one of my videos, you may see it in the future. Check that particular website. I always give a website in my description of the video. Click on that website to see if the funding source is active because they do tend to run out of money, but then they revitalize at some point in the year and get refunded. So make sure the funding source is active. This particular program offers a maximum of $12,500 in assistance. That seems to be like the sweet spot. It offers a minimum of $500 in assistance. I don't know why someone would only get $500 in assistance, but something's better than nothing, right? So, okay. It sits as a silent second mortgage. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know that a silent second mortgage sits in addition to your first mortgage, which is how you purchase the home. It sits as a silent second, which means that you don't make any payments and there's no interest, right? It is a forgivable loan after a period of 5 years. So, you know, 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 20% of the loan retires each year that you live in the home. If you stay there for the entire period of 5 years, then the loan is 100% forgivable, which means that it goes away and you do not have to repay anything. However, you will trigger repayment if you move or if you sell. Now, by moving, I mean you rent it out, right? So if you rent the house out, it is no longer your primary residence, then you will have to repay the loan. If you sell the house and you're selling it, so you're moving, right? You will have to repay a portion of the loan. If you sell, for example, after 3 years and 20% of it has retired each year, you will have to repay 40% of the loan. So 20, 40, 60. 60% is retired. You still owe 40% as a payback. So you'll have to repay back 40% of however much you were awarded. So if you had the entire 12,500 times 0.40, that's what you will owe at the closing table. They will take that out of your net proceeds. All right, so you have to be a first-time home buyer. We'll talk about that in a slide in a couple of minutes. And you have to be a U.S. citizen, and you have to meet the income limits. So those are some of the requirements of this one. Oh, you know what I didn't put as a bullet point? This program can be combined with other programs. Yay! What that means is that suppose you get Georgia Dream. Georgia Dream is a program that I talked about. There's 3 versions of Georgia Dream. Go back, look at one of my previous videos and check that out. So if you get Georgia Dream, you can combine this with the City of Canton. Okay, now City of Canton, you have to live in Canton. Okay, sorry. But if you live in Canton and you qualify for Georgia Dream, you can combine these two programs. Isn't that awesome? That's awesome. I think it's awesome. I think that you'll think that that's awesome when you have lots of money to use. All right, so let's move on. Use of down payment funds. What can it be used for? You can use this for down payment or closing costs. So down payment, right? If you're going FHA, you're going to have to do 3.5% of the purchase price of the house. What does that mean? $100,000, $3,500. So for every $100,000, you will have to pay $3,500. So for a $200,000 house, you can do the math. That's 7 grand. so on and so forth. So you can use it for down payment. Now, closing costs, what's that? Closing costs is what you have to pay in terms of, the lender's um, fees, and other ancillary things you have to pay. So your closing costs, your lender will let you know what your closing cost amount is. It's usually between 3 and 5% of the purchase price of the house. So that's an additional thing. If you have a great real estate agent like myself, I will probably find a way to ask the seller to contribute to that. If you're buying new construction, most new construction builders will help you with some closing cost amounts. So there's that. Some lenders will help you with closing costs. So there's all kinds of ways to help with closing costs, but this down payment assistance program, if you do not need to use the entire $12,500 that you are awarded, if you're awarded that full 12.5, you can use the rest for closing costs. So yay. You can purchase a single family detached home with with these funds. You can purchase a condominium and you can purchase a townhome. So that's great. Now, your limits, there are limits. There's income limits and there's limits on what you can buy. So if you're buying new construction, your new construction limit is $403,000. Okay? It's not a lot of house these days, but you can buy something. So that's significant. Existing homes, that's a resale home, a home that's already constructed, someone else has lived in it. You're purchasing that home. The limit on that is $361,000. So a modest home. Let's go on to the next slide. Hang with me. We're halfway there. First time home buyer definitions. Now, I thought this was interesting. That's why I included this slide, because I only knew about the first time homebuyer definition as defined by an individual or his or her spouse who has not owned a home during the 3-year period prior to the purchase of this particular home. So what that means is 10 years ago, you lived in North Carolina, you owned a home, you were in the military, you got transferred, you sold that home, and now you're out of the military, you live in Georgia, which is where you're from, and you decide to settle down and buy a house. You haven't claimed mortgage interest on your taxes in the past 3 years. What does that mean? That means that you haven't owned a home in 3 years. Each year, when you own a home, you get a statement from your mortgage company saying how much interest you paid, and you use that as a tax deduction. If you haven't done that in 3 years, you qualify as a first-time home buyer. That's something that I've always understood. But then they threw in these other two definitions. So, person is a displaced homemaker, defined as an adult who has not worked full-time in the labor force, primarily without pay, and you've cared for your home, you're unemployed or underemployed. Well, obviously you need money. You need some sort of income to show to qualify for the purchase of a home. So that person might have some disability or some kind of annuity or something like that that qualifies them to purchase a home. So I guess they qualify as a first-time home buyer. I thought that was kind of cool. That broadens the scope of who might qualify as a first-time home buyer. And the third one is a person who's a single parent, unmarried or legally separated from a spouse. Single parents qualify who are divorced or separated. That's cool, right? Because, life happens and sometimes your situation changes and you still need housing and you may not want to rent. So that also broadens the scope of who may qualify as a first time home buyer. Now, those two are not familiar to me. This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd share it. But really, what you want to do is talk to your lender to make sure that you fit into those two definitions, all three really. Make sure that you qualify for the definition of a first time home buyer. If you have any questions about that, your lender or your real estate agent, hello, real estate agent here, can help you drill down to make sure that you qualify for that. All right, let's move on to the next slide. All right, income limits here, modest, just like the amount of home that you can purchase. So for a single person home, you don't have to be a first time home buyer. I mean, a single parent, sorry, to do this. You can be just you by your lonesome. You can make up to $60,200 and still qualify to get this down payment assistance program. For a family of four, you can make 86,000. Ooh, I'm missing a zero. $86,000. For a family of eight, you can make 113,550. That sounds like a lot of money, but it's really not if there's 8 people in your household, right? So those income limits are as of May 2025. If you want further information always in the comments is a link to the program provider for more information. All right, so you're probably asking, how do I qualify for these programs? Well, again, in my description, in the comments below, there's a link, and that link will take you to a landing page. On that landing page is a quick survey. You'll receive an email once you fill out that quick survey. It's going to ask you things like, where do you want to buy? If you're not sure, put in your own home address. Um, you'll receive an email with the programs that you qualify for. Quick survey, how much money do you make? Are you in, they're going to ask you, I think, a total household income. Are you in the military? Are you ex-military? Are you Native American? They're going to ask you questions to see what programs you qualify for. It's a really short survey, won't take you more than 5-10 minutes, depending on how fast you read. And once you click submit, you will receive an email. That email will tell you what programs you qualify for. I think I had a lady do that once and she qualified for like 16 programs. There are like 79, 80 programs that I draw from, and then there's lender programs out there. You probably qualify for something, right? So take the time, fill out the survey. You'll get an email. I'll get a similar email with your contact information. Your email will have my contact information on it. We can sit down and go through the programs and have a quality discussion about, what direction you might want to go. We'll pair you with a lender. That lender will then go through getting you pre-approved for the programs. Now, you do, for this program, have to take a course. It can be online, it can be in person, but it just talks about the home buying process and gives you further information on what to expect with the home buying process. If you would like to talk to me directly, I'll be happy to chat with you. My number is 404-587-5661. If I'm with a client on the phone or doing a home buyer education class and you miss me, please text me. You're welcome to leave a voicemail message, but I prefer text because I really don't like checking my voicemail, but I do it. But it also gives me a visual reminder to call you back. You can email me at yvonnejhunt@gmail.com. Don't forget the J. There's another Yvonne Hunt in the UK, and there's one in San Francisco who, guess what, is African American and a real estate agent. So don't forget the J, and I will be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for your time and for listening. And check out my other videos on YouTube that are about down payment assistance and also about other, new construction development. Sometimes I'll preview a house. There's a lot of different content out there. And again, thank you so much for your time. I hope to hear from you soon and have a blessed day. Thanks for listening.